I'm your host, John, back with my bestie, Nikki. Nikki, how are you?
I am good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm tired. It's been a long day at work, but I'm excited because we have Nate Edwardson on tonight, which I was very excited to have on. It's the first time to have Nate on. What's going on, Nate?
Man, you guys are excited. You have no idea how. I gotta start with the story because you both like legends in the CrossFit world, like legends. And when I first started my channel, like 2.5, 3 years ago, I was at Strength in Depth, and you interviewed, I think, like Razor, or maybe it was just you, John. I don't know if it was the same podcast, but it was something
No, just
to do with
Nikki,
you, John.
probably. Wasn't it?
I've
Yeah.
never been to
Anyway,
Strength and Depth. I don't know.
It was
I don't know
somewhere.
what you were
okay.
watching. It was probably somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, you guys interviewed Craig, right? Like a couple years ago, or like
Yes,
John, you did.
yes.
So
Yeah.
whenever that was, it was around the time when I first channel, and I remember like I had seen your meme page for a long time, so I knew who you were and what I saw that. And I was like, that's just like so cool. And this was my first time on channel, and I remember being like, I want to like want to interview me, like that's a goal of mine. Like somehow I want to figure out a way to like whatever. It was like great when I was doing the channel, whatever. And like Craig was obviously Craig still is like biggest creator in the CrossFit world. So I was like, if one day that can happen. And so when you messaged me, like, wife, I was so excited for like weeks. So this is just like it's a crazy watershed moment, man, where it's like I was nobody when I watched you interview, and like I'm still nobody, but it's like, you know what I mean? Like the fact that I'm even on here, like I'm so thankful. Like this is so cool for me.
I'll tell you what made it happen. I was watching the episode you did on Danny Spiegel, and in the episode, Nate goes, John's a really great speaker. I need to learn from him. I'm like, oh, compliments are going to get you everywhere, motherfucker. Let's go.
John was like, that sounds great. Would you like to be on our show, good
Yes,
sir?
I love it when people love me.
Yeah.
Come on the show. I only listen to people that actually like me. So that's great.
Yeah. Absolutely.
No, it's good. It was actually cool. I had followed you for a while. Like I'd see your clips on YouTube because I consume way too much online content. I know that's shocking, Nikki. Totally shocking to you.
I never would have guessed.
Yeah,
Never would have.
that the single meme lord spends way too much time online. But I'd watched a lot of your stuff and seen a lot of videos, and I don't know, just scrolling through, and I saw the clip with Danny, and if I'm remembering right, I think it had our logo in there somehow, like it was like clipped from it.
I had a screenshot
like,
of the podcast, I think.
Yeah. And it's one of the rare, like lately I've noticed people have been clipping stuff from us, and like I don't know, I feel like the show doesn't reach very many people, and it always blows me away when I see somebody clip something from us, and so it caught my attention. It was just funny.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that's why I'm telling you on the podcast. I'm like, we need to talk about you figuring out how to clip it, because it's like obviously you wouldn't share your stuff, like it introduces you to maybe a couple people who haven't seen it and whatever, but like you can also do that yourself. And like if you put clips of this online instead of just like be awesome, you grow YouTube in a second.
Yeah, we've talked about it. The problem is in the 3 hours a night I'm sleeping now in between all my jobs, I can't seem to find the time to get it done.
I know. I oftentimes think that this
just
podcast could be like
easy
with all of our meme millions.
Yes, with all the meme millions.
Yeah.
I do think that a lot. I'm like, damn, we could be doing so much, and people tend to give us like pretty good feedback. And I guess but John and I both work, and this is just like a passion project. And
exactly.
Yeah, when there's more time, when there's lulls. Yeah.
We've talked about it.
Have to identify that.
It's hard, dude. Like we've talked about bringing on someone to maybe produce the show, be a third person on the air, but it's like, I don't know. We'll probably continue to talk about it. Maybe we'll do it in 2023. But for now, we've been kind of pretty happy with the way it goes. Like it's such a passion project for us. It's really more about just getting to talk to people we find interesting and good stories, or sometimes it's just bringing friends on and just catching up. It's like that. That's it. And then it does give us an opportunity to occasionally talk about things that really matter outside of CrossFit. And I hope that didn't hurt everyone's feelings that CrossFit doesn't matter, but shocker, it doesn't. So, or at least it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of this podcast. So,
well, Nate, I remember when you were first starting, because I feel like I met you at an event. Maybe it was games. I met you at an event, and was it Granite Games? Yeah, that's right. And you had just started, and you were kind of like figuring out what you wanted your content to even really like be or look like. And I feel like it's evolved over the years. I feel like at first you were doing like athlete profiles mainly, or like day in the life stuff, and it's really kind of exploded to just, I don't know, just like really general but really good content. I feel like it drives a lot of discussion. So I would love to hear from you kind of what you've been up to. What do you think, how would you categorize yourself right now in the sort of like CrossFit content creator space, and what are your goals, man?
Yeah, it was. I remember it very clearly. It was Granite Game. It was so cool because, like I said, I knew who you were. Doing my own channel, and that was I was working for Heber and Marston. Well, actually, I wasn't working from that point. I was volunteering for the channel because, like, the way I got connected initially, I started like YouTube to me before it ever like it's like I was coaching and doing CrossFit for a long time, and I found YouTube kind of like I got like nothing to do with it, and I started around with it, nothing to do with CrossFit. But after a couple years, I started working for a gym and doing their media, and they brought me out to Wadapalooza, and that's where I connected. I just sent Heber a cold DM, and I was like, "Hey man, like I'm a huge fan of yours. Like I'd love to like hold the camera, change batteries or whatever." And so I helped them out, and then that I could like flying around and volunteering to help them. And so that's where we ended games. But through that, I kind of realized that like I like making videos, specifically YouTube videos, but like for other people, like I'm not a video author. I want to me like you got like it's something I do for fun. Like I'm a nerd with YouTube, and that more like I study the crap out of it. I love it. I love optimizing. I love all that, but like I just love YouTube. I love YouTube videos, and like I don't do it for any reason other than that. When I was like making videos and getting paid to work with these other bigger guys, I worked with Roy for a little bit. It just was less fulfilling, and I'm like, this isn't why I want to make videos. Like if I just have to do this to make videos, I'm not going to do it. So I quit working with them, and I just was like, I'm gonna start my own channel. And I had an idea for my day series, which like obviously it's not like a novel concept to do a day in the life series, but what was about it in the CrossFit world was I was doing commentarian style pieces. So instead of just up like a highlight of someone's day, like just 20 minutes of workout montages and whatever sexy stuff on camera, I was just literally showing up with like my DSLR and just like following an athlete from sun up and filming multiple like 30-minute long conversations, and then cutting it up into this like 1 to 2 hour basically walking interview, but just like showing the behind the scenes of their lives. And so that was the first content I did, and that took off. It was like people knew me initially, and that was great. My channel grew to like a few thousand in 4 months, and it was like 8 of those episodes. It was great, but then COVID hit. Like 4 months after the channel and going full time, COVID hit, and the world anymore and film with athletes. So it's like I was literally like me, my camera, and my the first video that I was just like, I don't know what am I. All I've done is document these athletes, and now suddenly like I'm turning the camera on myself and I have to figure this out. So it evolved has always just been supernatural, out of like necessity. Like it's just been like at first like I didn't want to make anything but day in life videos, but I didn't have a choice because I was like all I want to do is make videos. Option for me not to make videos. So I can't necessarily want to make something else out. So then it was really like 2020, all 2020 was complete trial and error. 2021 I kind of stumbled upon, instead of just like filming me work out and like random stuff, like I talked about things that happened like here or there in the CrossFit world, and like kind of got some traction. And all of 2021 I kind of that, and then this past year has really I dove in a lot on the commentary side, because at the end of the day, like I'm a huge fan of the CrossFit world, and I just like you can't tell our love to talk, and like I had all the report comments from teachers being like, "Oh, guy, but he never shuts up." Like, so it's like I always kind of knew I would probably do something. So like to me, it's just like so easy and natural and fun in front of the camera, shoot the shit, like stuff I talk about with my buddies at the gym. Like, oh man, like how do you think Haley's gonna do it row? Blah blah blah. People think I have this like concocted plan and that like is for and more like dialogue with all my videos, but it's like literally it's just like I wake up in the morning sometimes, I'm like, this seems interesting, like or talk about it on the spot, no script. Like it's just something I like to do, and so like I realize that it's like very easy for me to do naturally. I love doing it, people like watching it, so like that's kind of how that flowed into itself.
That is so funny. It's so interesting to me that Everyone always thinks that there's some like weird behind the scenes, like dark web, like I don't know, malice behind the content or commentary.
no.
But I really like that about your channel, Nate, and I think that that's kind of cool and kind of specific to our CrossFit space in that, like, I don't know, it just feels like a really like intimate space where people are just like they're truly themselves and they're just like kind of throwing their opinions out there and having discussions. And I really like that the community feels like so connected on that really personal, like intimate level. And I don't think every sport really has that. So I do think that that's cool. I mean, that's not to say that the internet isn't a hot garbage fire, because it normally is. And I just keep my little face out of the comments or else I'll go nuts. John can tell you anytime. He knows whenever I've like read the comments of something, because then I'll text him and I'll be like, did you see? And he'll be like, yeah, that's been going on for like a week. What are you talking about? Or I'll be like, hey, did we get any backlash on this? And he'll be like, no, don't worry about it. I'm handling it. I'm like, okay, great. I'm not going to read the comments.
No.
But I do like that, like for the most part, there's like a lot of popularity and a lot of interest around commentary and content that's just like normal, like down to earth. Even your day in the life stuff, like I feel like took off because like the athletes are so like normal and down to earth, and you get a really intimate look at their everyday lives. It's like not super formal or super produced, and that stuff has its place. But I don't know, I just I like being just casual.
Yeah, no, I love that. And like, I mean, to me, that's why like I only upload in 1080p. I use a camera that's like 10 years old and like whatever. It's like there are certain things that just to me make it more like you're hanging out with me kind of thing. You know what I mean? And like,
yeah,
I don't know, just personally, like there's a really highly produced stuff, but it's like I'm also self-aware that's not me. Like I'm not a very talented videographer. I'm not necessarily, I'm whatever. I'm a good storyteller, and like those are my strengths. So it's like, let me use those strengths as best as I can, and then everything else, it's like I don't need to like try to be something I'm not. Like in fact, usually with my content, like people give similar feedback where it's like, hey, I'm sitting in a room with you talking to you in your commentary videos, or like I'm actually there with the athlete, because like if you feel thing like, you know, on steady cams and 8K and blah blah blah, like it just feels like they're sitting there detached from what's happening and they're watching a movie. Whereas like, with my content is usually to make people equally involved in it, you know, and like there's like little things you can do to help that. So
yeah, I'm curious, Nate. I watched some of your videos today just to, you know, get a good sense of what you're covering and who you are. And I'm curious how your journey with it has been. Like, have you changed from doing it? Like I'll give you a personal example. Like when I started, I very naively went into it thinking, oh, this would be great for me. And as the page grew and my content got bigger, it became more about the kind of this community that followed and way less about me. And I've become really okay with that. I've actually kind of gotten to the point where I really love that. You know what I mean? Like in the beginning, I was like, oh, this is great. I'll be internet famous. All right, whatever. You know? And well, I mean, seriously, everyone goes to that. Like when you initially start picking up followers, you think, oh, people are going to love me. And then after a while, like you start to change with it. And as I've kind of gotten to the point now where I could give a rat's ass if people recognize me or not. Like I kind of like creating to make people happy, and it gives me outlets to do other things like this, you know? And so I'm curious, has your journey from the page when you started doing a day in a life of, which is really kind of your stuff, to doing what you're doing now, primarily, which is telling the stories of, you know, Mal O'Brien or Haley Adams or Danny, or just opining on that, has it changed your viewpoint on that at all?
not really, because like to be honest, like I the inverse like journey that a little bit where even so the day in the life was not for me. Like I've been making YouTube videos for like 2.5 years before that. They're all private right now because it's just like I didn't think they were interesting to people. And like when I rebranded the channel as a CrossFit channel, start clean. But I uploaded. So when I first fell in love with YouTube, it was Casey Neistat, blogging, that era. So it was, to me, it was just a creative expression from the get. And it was just a passion project. Like you said, I was working a full-time job. I was coach week, and I was going to school full-time, like in university. I just picked up my iPhone and I started filming my day. And I made a video every other for 100 days. So 50 videos. Not a single video got more than 5 views. Legitimately, not more than 5. And then I was like, this is so many daily vlogs. So 200 days I uploaded every single day. So for essentially 300 days, I uploaded 250 videos in 300 days. I amassed a grand total of 72 subscribers. 72 subscribers.
That is so videos, much work. Days. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Trying to make the videos better, but like whatever. But like I've always just done it because I love it, and like it's the reason I started making videos in the CrossFit space was just that happened to be what I was in the moment, and it still is. It's a huge part of my life, and like CrossFit, but like I just make videos because I like making videos, man. I don't really do it for anyone. Like if people want to watch them, that's great. I'm hyper obsessed with that form of YouTube, so it naturally is to make the videos better for the audience, and like I care about the community in that sense. Like I want people to enjoy watching my content, but like at the end of the day, like if I don't want to make a video about something, like I literally made my last video on my main channel was me talking about when I covered Dubai, and it was literally just like I didn't find it that interesting. Like really successful videos during daily coverage of Rogan, those videos blew up, and that was great. But like I could have copied and pasted format to Dubai and probably done decently well with the videos. Like me personally, I just wasn't that interested in watching the events in Dubai for whatever reason, so I just didn't make videos about it. And like I don't know, I genuinely I love this. It's what I wake up for, think about all day, every day. It's just my favorite thing on earth. It makes me so happy. And that when I was getting 5 views a video, just as much as it does now. Like it's cool now that it pays my bills, but like if I was getting 10 views a video, I'd still be making videos. Like I love it.
Can you talk about that a little bit, like how it pays your bills? Because I feel like the journey from volunteering to change Heber's batteries, and I assume flying yourself all over the world in the very beginning and sort of like paying your own way, like the transition from that to now you do this full time and it's your job and it actually makes you money. I feel like I have questions. People always have questions for me too about that kind of thing. Like, how can I get started? I want to do what you do, or I want to be a content creator in this space. I do read the chat, by the way. I can see it. We had a question just come in the chat. Can she read the chat? I do. I can't respond though. I don't know why. But yeah, I would love to hear a little bit more about that journey and how you were actually able to make that work, because a lot of people want to do it and they can't quite figure it out, or it's quite difficult. So yeah, how did that sort of transpire for you?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I'd love to be as open and honest with you. Ask away, because if I get someone with this information, that's awesome. But for me, it's like, I just have a weird relationship in the fact that like I just never cared. Like I don't know, I grew up with a whole lot, and like kind of an advantage to some people. You feel like if you grew up with always having like we were fine. Like I went to a normal school and like I had a house and like it was fine. But like I didn't have like extravagant stuff or anything. So like I've just about that kind of stuff, And so like for me, it's always just been like I want to do everything. If it makes me happy, like I genuinely don't care. Like I'll figure it out. Like I don't know. And I'm not risk averse. Whatever the one means, like I'm okay with risk. Like risk doesn't bother me. Like stuff that most people like money just does not stress me out. So the reason I'm teeing it up like this is because the story of me starting my own channel is I just started. It was basically what happened was I had a full-time job at CrossFit gym. I was making like $25,000, like basically, and I was already supplementing my income by like I had a side doing like media production for like businesses and stuff, just in my local area. And as soon as I got time from Heber and Marston, one paycheck from them, which was like not even enough to cover my rent, I quit my job at the gym and like dead set winning, like, hey, here's 2 weeks notice, I'm done. Like this is what I want to pursue. And they were straight up with like, hey, listen, bro, this is a full-time job, like this is contracts, like we don't know when we're gonna be able to bring you out next. But I was like, don't care, I made money from it, I'm doing it. And so I just dove into that fully. And I had like maybe an 8-month stretch during the 2019 season where I helped Marston for half, and then I got connected with, and I kind of like made content for him all the way up into the games, and that was going super well. And I had a good thing going with Rory. I was making more money than I made in my life working for these guys, which like wasn't anything wild. It was like a good amount, And really what ended up happening from there was like that's that moment when I told you that I just kind of I don't like making videos for other people. Okay, I'm gonna go out on my own. But the only option on my own to start a YouTube channel of mine was just to put everything in. So that's just what I did. I right away. And it was funny timing. We were moving from Ottawa to Vancouver, and I had just signed a $2,500 a month. We had a car with car payments. We had all these things. My girlfriend was working like a retail job. And that was basically the exact same time when I was just like, sorry, Rory, I can't work for you anymore. So I gave up contracts I was with. And I booked my plane ticket to go fly to see Allison Scudds and a hotel in California with her. I had a YouTube channel subscribers. I didn't have AdSense turned on. You can't turn on AdSense until you hit 4 or like 1,000 subscribers or something like that. And I never made a brand deal in my life, but I was just like, I'll just figure it out. You know, I wanted this, I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out. And that's all I did, man. I just like, I turned my focus that. I hyper obsessed over it. I figured out how you get brand integration. Everyone I ever knew in the CrossFit world asking, how do you do this? Like, well, I messaged 100 different brands. I had 2 write me back that paid for my trip to go see Allison, and rinsed and repeated that process until probably 10 episodes out with that process, managed to pay my rent. COVID hit, making no money off YouTube other than the brand deals anymore because I wasn't doing the day in life videos. But luckily, the Canadian government took a relief package, which was like basically for COVID, $2,000 a month, and it was like for a year. And like obviously all my income was cut because COVID hit, so I couldn't make any more. So I just lived off that for like basically like a year, making videos, grinding it out. Thankfully, by the time that year was over, I started to make enough AdSense to be able to supplement myself. So that's kind of the story. Really. Like I just, yeah. I don't know.
You should get sponsored by Adderall because you talk so fucking fast. It's amazing.
That's what everyone I
know. So that's wild. If I was your girlfriend in that first scenario where you had just moved and you had car payments and you like quit your job because you got one paycheck that like didn't cover any of your actual anything, I'd be like, no. How about no?
That's why. See, I was hoping the story would be like, oh, I had this girlfriend who was like 62. Like that's what I was hoping the story was gonna be like. You had like some sugar mama that put you up, and like I was hoping we'd go there, and it didn't. So I'm a little disappointed, but that's all right. You know, you never know. No.
Well, that's tough. So I'm really glad that worked out for you. It's just so interesting to me. Like every time someone asks, like, how do you get into this, or how do I become a content creator? Because truly, at the end of the day, the answer is like, just start, right? Just do what you love. Just start. But also, like, there's a little bit of this like low man on the totem pole that you have to play, where you are like volunteering for things, or offering to maybe pay your own way to get to an event, or do whatever you need to do to get your foot in the door. And I don't know if I would really give the advice of like, just do it and just blow all your money on it, and you might not have anything come out from it, but that'll be fine. Like I feel like you persevered, my friend. I don't know if everyone else would have made it through that.
I would assimilate more to like a mental illness for like why I did what I did than like actual advice I would give someone. Like it's definitely a negative thing that I did that, and something was like wired just to like do it, and it worked out, and that's great. But like I tell that story and like advice around that all. What I try to draw from that story particularly is like, don't do what I did. It's like if you want to get started on a creative pursuit or just pursuit in general, it's like you have to really check yourself and like, what are you willing to give up? You know what I mean? Like if you're over leveraged and you're like, I need this house with dreams and I need this car and I need this and that, like it's gonna be a lot harder. I was living in like a relatively small apartment for the city I was in, and I haven't bought clothes. I can't even tell you the last time I bought everything I went to me for free by a brand now. My wife who works for Lululemon got for me. Basically, it's like I don't, so it's just like all I want to do is make YouTube videos. If that's and you're willing to sacrifice the other things, that makes it a lot easier. So it's like you have to be kind of like willing to sacrifice some things at first. Of the story that I try to bleed off to other people, just like if you're doing something you love, like you won't really care. You shouldn't really care that much, because like your happiness level from money versus from doing something you love. It's like if you've never experienced doing passionately love every single day, probably you don't have a measuring stick for this, but it's like I've made decent amounts of money on and off, and like it made me nearly happy as I am just like every single day waking up making YouTube videos. So it's like if you like that and you put the effort in, like it's going to work out. Like you found your thing and it's going to work, so it's just more about finding that thing.
It's gonna work. You might not eat every day, but it's gonna work. It's gonna work eventually.
Well, the good news in that though
I
is
was
like
also
everyone
like, I was
CrossFit
all
needs abs,
24.
though.
Yeah.
Man, don't we so run differently in our early 20s? Like the shit that I could do in my early 20s, or I was like hustling so hard, and I was working in the morning news, and I was going to work at 3:30 in the morning every day, and then I would coach from like I'd work from I'd do the news from 3:30 until like 1, and then I would coach from 3:30 in the afternoon until like 6:30 at night, and then I would like go home, do dinner. I would go to bed at like 10:30, and I would wake up every morning at 3 to go to work. I did that for years, you guys.
Yeah.
And now, like, kid still isn't sleeping through the night, and I like want to throw I want to throw Matt out the window. I'm like so sleep deprived. It's ridiculous.
I had that conversation with my mom the other day where I was just like, I literally was talking about that exact story of like, you know, moving out here and just like putting everything into my channel. And I feel like I've grown a lot as a person in the last like 2 years. Like I'm 26, 27 were real like watershed moments for me. And I like learned a lot about myself and had all these deep thoughts and like understandings of the world and like how relationships come into fruition, like with family that were great. And like so much of it is just like your brain doesn't finish developing till you're 25. So I think the fact that my brain was still like whatever percent developed at 24 or 23 when I was willing to do all helped. Nowadays, I probably wouldn't have done that. Like that was maybe a little bit too much even for me now.
I'm not convinced mine's done developing for whatever that's
I was
worth.
gonna say I think most guys take a little longer than that, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I was reading through some of your comment sections today. It was interesting to me, and it sparked a thought.
What's it like?
Well,
I don't look.
They're all the same. Like everyone's the
Maybe.
same, you know, like it wasn't necessarily about him as much as just like kind of online commentary. Like, so as you're running this channel, you're spending a lot of time opining on what other people are doing, events, people, whatever. And often the comment section becomes about you. And it really struck home to me that this, you know, kind of online presence that we all have has gone from talking about a topic to becoming very personal. How has that impacted you as you've grown your channel and you know, covered more topics?
Not really. Not really. I don't know. It's like I just don't really care. Like if I'm enjoying a video and like, you know, there's more effective ways as a YouTuber to like measure how much people are enjoying your videos. Like, you know, we have data through Google, which is something like, you know, like your retention graphs and like, you know, CTR and like, you know, viewer engagement action search. We see all that. So it's like, you know, there's lots of ways to measure performance and stuff of your content, minus like the obvious stuff to people who don't make videos, which is like views, likes, and comments. Likes and comments mean absolutely nothing. Like people think that it helps the algorithm or it does this, does that. Like it literally means nothing. So it's like the comment section on a video is like ideally the place where people can discuss they are interested in discussing with themselves, you know. And like my videos, you know, in a perfect world, I would view it as like a place where watch the video and they either agree with what I say or they don't, and then they write about why in the comments. People comment are like, actually I think it's this, and it's like a debate, you know what I mean? Like, because like if I'm just in a conversation, but it's a one-way conversation, like I'm just talking to them, right? They have no real way to talk to me unless they want to like DM me on Instagram or whatever, which usually I reply to people who do that. Yeah, so it's just like I think it's just a form for people to like, you know, their own thoughts across. But then for sure you definitely get like a lot of sort of either wish they are where we are, which is like they have a public voice, and some usually it's like I guess it's like the common thread is it's like avatar, like not real people in the comments, like people hiding behind an alias or whatever. But it's like you see it in like comment culture today, where it's like all you have to do to get a lot of likes on a comment or something is like say something really like aggressive or thrashy or like whatever it is, like dumpster fire, like beginning, like that kind of stuff. Like, and you'll get some likes, and that like will boost that person up with this false sense of like I have this like, you know, validation, makes them feel good. So it's like I don't really care if that's what people want to comment in the comments to me. It's like go ahead, like you feel good yourself, like that's fine, man. Like comment section's for you, it's not for me. Like I don't really care what people I'm enjoying making the videos and like I know obviously thousands of people are watching them and like I can see that, you know, I hold between 60 retention on every videos, which means people who are watching video, they're not just watching the first 30 seconds and clicking off, like, and all my videos have 60 to 70% retention. The viewer surveys and like all that stuff, you know, what 5 people say in comment sections, it's never bothered me, man. If it makes people feel happy, and like then you just try to also like understand where that person's coming from and like have sympathy for that, you know, like people who comment mean things, if that's what we're talking about, which I assume it is. It's just like some either you guys commented something like, you have a meme page, so maybe it's a little different, but like Nikki, it's like, when was the last
Yeah, I can look at my
time
watch.
you took time out of your day to like comment something?
Never.
You know,
I would never. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
it's like if
True.
something negative, it's like don't be mad at them. Out with them. Just like usually I try to sympathize for them and be like, man, it sucks. Like I hope everything's okay. You know, I don't read it, but like, you know, if you see it or whatever.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think you are fully mature because I certainly am not. I take that shit personally, man. Like, the difference for me though, like when I do make those comments from time to time, but I have a very public persona. So like when I do it, my face and name are behind it. Like people know exactly who said it, you know? So I'm very cautious these days because I've certainly said some dumb shit online before, not even that long ago, for whatever that's worth. So I am cautious about it, but you know, there is still like, you know, you can be trying to do something innocent, or, you know, you're talking about a topic where you're like, all right, I know this is the right thing, whatever your belief is, this is the right thing. And then people start blowing it up and it's hard to not take it personally. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day though, it's like, especially if you're making content like mine, it's like, it's just my idea. Like, it's just a thought. Like, it's just something that came through my brain. Like, I don't sit and like spend hours like cultivate this perfect story and like researching it and like obsessing over it. And like I didn't go to like school or whatever. Like I'm just saying things that I think are interesting to me and like explaining interesting to me. Like again, if people want to watch that, great. If people think like that's fine, like you don't have to watch it. You know what I mean? Like I just don't care.
Okay, first of all, as is proven right now on this podcast, going to journalism school doesn't change one thing or another about any of this, as my big paperweight degree can attest to. But no, I think I see where both of you are coming from, because on the one hand, like you're right, Nate, like it just kind of, I feel like your attitude towards it is kind of like, it is what it is. Like this internet is what it is. People are what they are out here. And like, it has no real bearing on me or effect on me, because like, if they're going to take the time out of their day to do something shitty, like that sucks to be them. But at the same time, like John, like I get where you're coming from. And I feel like I waver in between the two of you, because we are putting ourselves into the content that we're making. And when people respond in a way that is so like, sometimes personally attacking, it's only human to see that and feel that and be like, oh God, like instantly my gut reaction whenever someone like calls me out or says something shitty about me is I'm like, oh God, is that real? And then it takes me a minute to be like, no, like, no, that's dumb. Or like, I have my own opinion, or like, we don't have to agree, or like, why are you being shitty, whatever. But it definitely, it takes me a minute, because when you're attacked, your defenses go up and you're like, oh, well, wait, like, why is that? Should I be? Am I? No, you're the jackass. Okay, cool, got it, no problem.
I'm trying to be more I don't know what the right term is, inquisitive about the comments these days and do better research. Like I'm watching more stuff, listening to more stuff that I wouldn't normally listen to necessarily, or watch more to form my own opinion, to decide if I'm right or not. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to feel like I'm just surrounded by talking heads, or just, you know, a bunch of people that just agree with me all the time.
Right.
Record, like most people don't know this about me and Nikki, Nate, but we argue a lot. Like we disagree on a lot of stuff. And it's like kind of the running joke for me is like, people are always like, oh, John and Nikki are so woke and they live in this echo chamber. I'm like, echo chamber? Like Nikki and I could fight off the air for hours if we wanted to and not agree on anything. We just love each other, you know? It's just funny. But so how I'm kind of dealing with it is like trying to listen to more stuff and get different opinions. And even if I don't agree with it, listen to it anyway, just to understand what people are talking about and what different segments of our population. Like I had this guy come in my comment section the other day It was after the Danny episode, and he led with, "You're not doing your daughters a service by this episode." Now, I instantly knew what he was doing. And what I wanted to say is both of my daughters would tell you to go fuck yourself for that comment, both of them. So I know I'm doing them a service. But at the same time, I'm like, all right, well, why are they not? Let me go back and listen and go back and figure out like what he's trying to tell me here. And at the end of the day, I didn't end up agreeing with him, but I wanted to explore it, to see if I'm being fair. And, I don't know, maybe that's after 4 years of fighting with trolls online that I'm, finally trying to grow from it. But internet's a hard place, man.
No,
it is tough. It's really tough. Wait, people say we live in an echo chamber. I don't see. Well, I don't read any of these comments, and so I don't.
I think that's a fair. I think most people live in an echo chamber.
Well, most people. The point of a podcast is like specifically to come out here and do your thing with your thoughts with your people.
Well, that's true, but I think most people that don't run a podcast and aren't putting out content, most people live in an echo chamber. Most people surround themselves with like people. Like that's how you get along with people. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily, but I would hope those same people, even though the people surrounding you that you like them and you have similar views, I would hope you're reaching out and looking at other views and trying to understand, do you really believe what you believe? Like here's an example. I was raised in a very religious family. My mom's awesome. And my dad. But we would go to church every single Sunday. And now that I'm in my 50s, like I'm going back and looking at that and going, do I believe what I believe because my mom took me to church and ingrained that in my mind? Or do I believe it because I really believe it? Mm-hmm. And it's important to flesh that out, and I think relationships and politics and, all the, things that are going on in our world are similar to that. And, and the internet brings, my point to that is the internet brings all this out because people start picking us apart online and it starts feeling very personal. And to your point, Nate, a lot of them are nameless faces, private accounts, no picture. You don't know who they are. They don't even have a name, and I don't know. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I think to go to Nikki's, it's like, it's natural for people to feel that way with comments, right? Because it's like our brains, like I kind of, you said, John, with like you watch a lot of stuff, like I read a lot, and it's, I've read this a million times, but it's like the way our brain still is like this kind of like group satisfaction, group behavior. You want to be approved of the group you're with because in primitive time you were ostracized and you'd freeze to death and starve to death and die. So it's like caring about what other people think is like very normal. I think what you have to, if you're trying to make it on the internet or you build some sort of like platform on the internet, is like you need to surround your people, and like that's what I do. So like as much like whatever people, I don't care what people say about me on the internet, I have some very critical people in life who I've kind of assessed as like either people who have said things critical about me before, or I've reached out to like get people whose opinions are going to be of value to me, because that's the other thing too, right? It's like how do you know someone in the comment section is like done what you're doing? 9.99% of the time they've never made content for a living, so it's like their opinion really isn't worth that much anyways because I don't understand it. But like I have a lot of people that I'll go to on a regular basis. What do you think about this? And they'll just like shit on my videos like all the time, just be like, this was bad, this wasn't accurate, like you this or whatever. And I love that because like it makes it much better, and I do the same with them. We just go back and forth, and we have this group, and awesome. And even in real life, it's like you said about the dad thing. It's like, what does that person know? Like the more important opinions that you should care about is like what your wife thinks and what your family members think and what your friends think who actually know you. Like that when you see stuff like that, it's like that person's just trying to get even, or they're trying to get attention of other people, because having attention feels good, and they're going to get that little dopamine spike if they 30 likes on their comments by saying so is going to poke at you. And then if you were to it, they're like, ooh, like it makes them feel really important. It's like how excited I am to be a podcast with you guys. Imagine how they feel in the comment section,
That's interesting. That's an interesting take on it. I do think that it's really hard to shut that part of your brain off, that part of your brain that is
for sure
like self-ingrained and wanting the dopamine and all of that. And I think that, John, to your point of like doing the research to figure out exactly where you stand, or does your brain believe the things that it believes because because it's been conditioned to, or because you've only heard one side of the story or whatever. Like, I think that is, I don't know, just a really like nice, mature way to go about responding to comments or figuring out even where you stand in the comments. But I also don't think that any of that is an excuse ever for people to be just like straight up assholes. Like, that's what's hard, is like no one's coming at it. Not everyone is coming at it with such grace.
You know, it's funny though. I have a different opinion on that. I've been thinking about this last couple of weeks since we had Danny on, and because I'm with you, I don't think there's a reason for people to be an asshole online. Like our debate, and Nate, you did a whole video on this, is like people commenting on Danny's body, right? And we're just say random strangers, and there's the debate of someone like Danny, who we love. I love Danny so much. We should have her on every week. But anyway, who posts a lot of provocative content and then says, I don't want you commenting on my body. Like, that's a debate that people have been having for a long time. My point though is that there are stopgaps that you can take and some things you should expect. So like for me, I run a meme page. I have an expectation that people are going to say mean things to me because I say outrageous things for a living. No different than if Danny posts a bikini shot, she should have an expectation that someone's going to say something perverted, probably. Now, the difference is you have ways to stop it. So Instagram, as an example, has multiple ways that you can keep this stuff from coming in. You can block people, you can limit comments, you can stop comments, you can edit comment. Like, there's so many different ways you can stop it. You know, you just have to decide whether you're willing to or not. Like, that's the thing. It's kind of like here's where my mind's been the last week. So I'm sitting in this room. This is why I can't quit my job, Nate. You see all these guitars, right? They're very expensive, and they're going to keep growing.
Like it. You could quit your job, sell the guitars, and then go full time with some seed money.
Probably, yeah, I probably could if I'm being honest. But here's my thought though. The room I'm in is literally on the front of my house, full of windows, sits on the street. Everybody could see it. So under the same concept of if you post a meme and you should expect bad photos, kind of the same thing. Like, people can see these from the street. Should I expect to be robbed? Getting robbed is a shitty thing and you shouldn't rob people, but there's an expectation it could happen because I'm advertising it. However, I have ways to stop it. Here's how I stop it. Number one, I have a doorbell camera and a camera right over the front door and a camera right back there and a camera on every window in this house. All deterrents. Those are just deterrents. They won't stop you, but they're deterrents. I have a deadbolt on that front door. That's an absolute deterrent that will keep you out. If you get past those two, I have a shotgun. And then the shotgun has 3 shells in it. The first 2 are designed to hurt you. The third one's designed to kill you. Instagram's no different. Right? The point is like, you can go from limiting comments to blocking people, but you can't keep people from doing bad things. That's kind of
I completely agree with that. I would just say, like, the tough thing with the internet, the division of scale too, because it's like, if you're about the house example, like, you know, midday you have like 100 people drive by your house, but like you have 350,000 people around the world following you on it. Like, there's just bound to be way more people than 350,000 than the 100 that drive by your house. Plus, it's also times less effort to comment something mean than it is to break into a house.
Of course.
So it's like, that'd be
And I'm not condoning people saying horrible things to Danny or any woman for that matter. I'm not trying to like say that Danny's asking for it or any woman's asking for it. I guess just my point is, I think anything you put on the internet, whether it's bikini shots, memes, last week, Noble putting out that $25 gift card. Like, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what you put out.
That was hilarious.
People are going to say crazy things, like that's the point.
Yeah.
That was wild.
I guess
that was wild.
I guess I feel a little bit different about this. Again, shocker, we don't agree on everything, right? And also potentially because like I'm a woman in this conversation, I feel a little bit differently about it. I just don't think that I see your point, John, and it makes total sense, especially I understand with like your guitars facing the street, etc. But I just don't think that it should equate to I post a picture of myself and you can see any amount of skin that I have decided to share. And that is an invitation in one way, shape, or form to comment negatively or pervertedly about my body. Because in that scenario, number one, that thinking as a society, we can change for what is appropriate and what is not. And you're right, you can't ever stop people from doing bad things. But as a society, saying like, if you post bikini pics, you should expect to get some perverted comments is something that we should collectively fix. And we should collectively say that is actually not okay, and we should not expect it, and it should not happen, because societally as well, that leads to violence against women, and that leads to this overall perpetuation of women being second-class citizens and being sex objects and being all the things that we face on a daily basis. Like, it needs to stop somewhere. It's not, I'm just being realistic with you, like, it's not actively stopping, but like that thought, I just don't think it's quite exactly the same thing when it comes to the internet and how we post it. But I do agree that the social media channels should do more to help that conversation.
Believe me, I would love a way to fix it, but you can't
too.
legislate human nature. That's the problem. Like, boys and girls are different, and like Nikki, if you knew what went through my brain 24/7, you'd never get on this podcast again.
Like, that guy, no way.
You're like, what the hell? I'm just a dude. Like, and any dude that's watching this or listening to it's gonna be like, yep, Woolie's right. Like, if women could peek into our brains, you would all shoot us on the
spot. But John, but you can think all those nasty thoughts all day long. It's not human nature to post it on Instagram.
No, but that's my point.
That's what I'm saying we should change.
Well, and that's the question, though. It's like, that's obviously a very, very complex topic, probably for a different time. But I guess, right now there are stopgaps in place. So I guess that's, I don't know. I'm with you, Nikki. Like, I would love to see no horrible things coming in, but I'd love to see no horrible things coming to me too.
Same, girl.
Or to Nate. Like, how many times have people made horrible comments about you that I've had to go in and blow them up, and they weren't sexual?
Oh my God. No, they weren't. It's always about how big my nose is. Like, I love your nose. I know I have a big nose. It's not news to me. But it's always so random. Yeah. It's like an actual piece of good content we do, and then someone's like, "Oh my God, but did you see her nose?" Yeah. I'm like, "Yeah, are you new here?" God.
Hey, Nate, what'd you think? You got excited when I brought it up. What'd you think of the Noble thing? The $25?
That was I thought it was hilarious, because like, given what I do for a living, just like a horrible marketing. Like, it was just, well, it was a horrible execution of it. So it's like the idea cool and like awesome. Like, $25 to go spend, maybe you're gonna buy a pair of shoes, or it's like, here's $25. It was just when this one where it's like Noble is covering the Open registration with me. I was like, oh, cool. And then it's just not that. So I just thought that was hilarious. And obviously, like, somebody missed that. But then they changed it later, and it's fine. And it's like, those are the memes of the internet, like, speaking of memes, like, hilarious. Like, it was just a funny moment. But like,
here's a funny story out of it that's actually going to come to fruition. So I went into that comment section, and I was like, I think it's great. I think it's absolutely great. Not the you have to spend $100, but I think anyone giving someone incentive to do the Open is a great thing. I love people doing the Open because it grows CrossFit. It grows the games. It'll make the games better, right? That was kind of my point, is that I want to celebrate the Open, So I thought it was a good idea. Not to mention, Noble doesn't discount shit. So the fact they're willing to give $25 to get people to do the Open, I think it's a cool thing, And I got blown up in the comment section for it. Well, a couple of days later, I get an email from the director of sport at CrossFit headquarters saying, hey,
cool.
Swear to God. And she goes, hey, really loved your comments. We appreciate it. We're going to send you a gift. And they send me 10 codes for free CrossFit Open enrollments.
Stop it.
Swear to God. So I'm going to donate them to charity. So I'm picking out 10 different charities, and I'm going to find 10 people that would not have done the Open otherwise, that are in need, that $20 would be a tall ask for them. And we're going to get them in the Open and do it. And I'm going to do it through my affiliate. So I thought that was really cool. Like, let's celebrate the Open and bring people in. So like, sometimes these dumpster fire comment sections pay off.
Totally.
Kind of
what a great story, and what a great gift for them to send you. That is Excellent.
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little disappointed. I thought I was getting a pair of no bulls. I was
gonna say, I thought you were about to say 10 pairs of shoes. That's what I thought was coming right there. I was like, 10 pairs of shoes? Whoa.
Dang.
I know. She was like, we're gonna send you a gift. I'm like, I'm getting no bulls. This is awesome. And then I didn't get no bulls, but I thought it was a better gift because I can help charities and I love doing charity work. So it'll be fun. It'll be different.
Awesome. Oh, what a great gift. That was sweet of them.
I know, it was weird though. Like, you know, Nate, you mentioned earlier, like what a small community is, but it reminded me how small our community is. Like, you make those comments, you don't think anybody reads them other than the people fighting, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
You're just responding to some dude and going, hey, jackass, this is why you should do it. And next thing you know, you're getting something for it. It's just weird. Just such a small community. So
I know. I still forget people ever even listen to this show.
I don't, but it's only because I do the editing.
That's true.
It's kind of a bitch. Again, why we should hire somebody to do it all. So Nate, what's next for you, dude? Like, what are you working on now? What do you have coming up?
For the second channel, which has been super fun and going pretty well. So that's something I find with the main channel right now. I'm trying to just like, CrossFit goes through ebbs, like seasons, like cross seasonal. I've learned over the years, so it's like there's times when there's just like content being spoon fed to you, and there's lots to talk about, and lots to make videos about, and lots to do. And then there's like we're in now until really the open. There's like pretty big lulls where there's just like not a lot going on. So it's kind of fun finding a way to like operate within those. So it's like typically you have to get more creative. So it's like less videos, but try to with them and like better ideas. So like typically I'll go to like I don't know, like I think I'm gonna make a video about training or more like training and stuff like that in the CrossFit world. You know, I be going to Wapalooza hopefully, and so like doing some more travel content will be fun. But yeah, I mean, not a whole lot. I just like making YouTube. Like, I'm just making more YouTube videos. I have this other place where I'm making even more YouTube videos, and it's fun. So
if you're at Waza, you got to come to our cocktail party on Saturday night.
Yes.
So that's gonna be fun. And you get do the gauntlet with me. It'll be fun.
We'll see. I just started doing CrossFit again in the gym like 2 weeks ago, man. I golfed and like I would do like at home crowd. Like I hadn't done like a week move at volume in like 4 or 5 months, and I just went back to I think I've been like 4 times, and like I'm so sore. Like I'm so broken. I don't know. I want to do the open. I'm going to be in any kind of gauntlet shape in Miami. I don't know, man. I think I'm like margaritas. We'll see.
Yep, same.
All the more reason to do it. And then I'll do one of your little 8-minute short videos that says, you're not going to believe how bad I beat Nate in the gauntlet. And I'll do it in all caps if you do a little clickbaity.
Yeah, one of these faces.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'd be super fun. I think we need a leaderboard of like everyone that's in social media, everyone that's in it. We need
I've been getting messages
me,
for
Nikki,
years, man.
the people in the chat that I know, Wad Zombie, Vindicate, like one leaderboard. We're going to get Hiller. I want Savant on there. I definitely want Savant on there. He's in my age division, by the way. I want him to do the open. I need to know. This is info I need to know. He was trained by Glassman. He's got to kick my ass, right? Like Glassman's the man. I love Greg. I mean, seriously, Greg was really good to me the couple of times I met him. And he's a hell of a good coach, like literally the smartest dude I've ever set foot in the room with. So I got to believe if you're around Greg for that amount of time, you got so much CrossFit knowledge, you just smoke me. I'm just some random dude in Ohio. Just a rando. But I got it. This is info I need to know.
You live in Ohio?
Yeah. We need one leaderboard with all of us on it. Fluffy Duck, put him on, Boston, Sean and Tommy.
Or something.
No, that's Nikki. Nikki's the one with the wicked accent.
It's me, yo.
I think it'd be fun though. Get us all.
I don't want to participate in this leaderboard. I'm not fit enough to participate in this leaderboard right now.
We're all doing it.
Nope.
I want everyone on it. Somebody came in the comments and said Hiller can't do it because he's juicing. That might be true.
No.
That absolutely might be true. He might
Definitely.
be. Hiller's looking fit though. That juicing's working. I mean, he was fit already, so but props to him, man. Every time I watch one of those videos, I'm like, fuck, I need to start doing TRT. I need to like get on something.
Should we get you some Endurable?
Oh, well, it's cheap. No, because I have there's the downside. The cancer downside's a pretty big downside.
Oh, right. Forgot about that.
It is a pretty big downside, to say the least. I've never understood that. I've never understood the whole juicing thing, and like particularly like for guys like me, like one of the adaptive athletes got popped from the games. I forget his name. I don't even know the guy, but I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, there's no prize. There's no prize in the adaptive division that's worth that. Like nothing. There's no prize for that. In the Masters division, there's no prize worth it.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Worth cancer?
Like the last in the last week when I saw like all that stuff, like Liver King, which is like that was hilarious to like watch unfold, And like I watched like the Joe Rogan clip like explaining it, and they showed like an email, and it had like what he was taking, and like I know literally nothing about what any of those are, but just the itself, I'm like that's got to be so horrible for you. And like all I know about it is like when I first got into like YouTube, like way back in the day, there's this guy Rich Piana, a bodybuilder who like notoriously was like added out and took a bunch of drugs, and he died at like 45 of like issues from taking like way too much human growth hormone, which like grows all your and I mean, I've like all the money in the world to risking your health for like anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like anything.
I do feel obligated to say. I feel obligated to say because I know him. What Hiller is doing is not unsafe. He's doing testosterone replacement therapy, which is safe. Like that's not like juicing. That's not like what Liver King was doing. Way different thing.
And also, like anyone who ever like even glanced sideways at the Liver King knew that dude was on some cocktail like of something.
Crazy.
Like it's the weirdest shaped human that I've ever seen in my life, and it's kind of a bummer because I do think that actually like some of the ancestral like primitive things that he would talk about are kind of legit about how like we like legitimately as a people should be eating more organ meat, and like we are missing some of the nutrients in our food that like our ancestral people had because of how we're farming and how we're like it's just some of the stuff he said was actually true, and then you'd look at him and I'd be like, oh no, what are you doing?
I think a lot of what he was doing was well intentioned. I actually I watched Hiller had a video on it today, and I watched it because I wanted to see his take because it's a really interesting topic to me. And I'm not gonna put words in Hiller's mouth, but the basic gist of it is like this guy, Liver King, got into what he's got into for his kid's health. Like he had a kid that had an issue, and so he got into keto and this ancestral, kind of primal lifestyle because it's a better lifestyle, and I love that for the record. Like,
yeah, I do too.
It's what attracted me to CrossFit Health was of changing the way you're eating and it revitalizing and changing your body and promoting health. And so I can see how he did that, how he got into it for that, and that's a good thing. Like he did it for the better health of him and his family. And that's very cool. Somewhere he lost his way. Yeah. And for me, that fundamentally, that was the difference is like, you can't, you can say, hey, this is a great thing. He did this for his family, but you can also say, but he also did a really shitty thing. And those two things can live together. Like as an example, I went into banking to give a better life to my family, but I never stole from the bank. I never misled my customers. I didn't steal, like I didn't become shitty in banking, or at least my boss thinks so. And so that's my point is like, I don't know. It's just such an interesting topic. I just feel like the guy lost his way somewhere and didn't know how to get out of it. And, I don't think any of us have ever had like the blow up he did, but dude went from like nothing to, million whatever followers in a really short amount of time. And that'll make you do some crazy shit.
Totally. No, that's true. That's for sure. And I agree. Like his messaging was definitely came from like a more wholesome place to start. It's just a bummer because I hope that people like people are going to look at that and be like, oh, so all that was bullshit. But like actually some of the messaging really wasn't. And that's just a bummer. people could really take that and improve their own health. So
I think it's just too. It's like he mixed up some like if he would have just like come out and like I think it was more what people were so upset is how much he denied it, and then it just like wasn't true. So then it brings question the legitimacy of the other things he's claiming. Whereas like if he was just like, hey, like he was just like character that was crap, like just like if you go and play a role in a movie, it's like you might get jacked to play a role in a movie. It's like he was trying to play this larger than life character, because if he was just this like scrawny dude that whatever, it's like there's no way people would listen to about like eating liver and like getting sunlight. Nobody would listen to him. But because he became this like character and all this attention, that to spread this more positive message. Like I've literally never watched it. I don't know what he talks about. I've just seen this Joe Rogan video, but from what it sounds like, it's like trying to spread this more positive message. It's like, but where he kind of shot him in the foot was just like, again, he that he was something he wasn't, and then when people found out he was lying and whatever, it's like that's what people were upset about. But I don't know. I feel like if he just like the first time he was there, he was like, yeah, I am. Like, it is what it is. Like, I'm trying to be this larger than life character so that people can hear my message, which is a positive message. Then nobody probably would have cared. Maybe a few people. I don't think it would have been this big thing. Whereas like now, I'm on like 10 different podcasts being like, I've never taken steroids, and then like a month, like I lied.
It's never the lie. It's the cover up. It's always like, if he had lied once, people would have been gotten busted. They've been like, all right. But it's the fact that he like constantly did it. And I'm not trying to kick the guy while he's down, because I don't like, that's not really my style. Like I just think he probably got bigger quicker than he anticipated, and it just got away from him, and I feel bad because his message is like the message of fixing your life through better nutrition is fantastic.
Yeah. And also through the physicality of it. Like I saw a clip where he like put on a bunch of chains and like dragged some plates around, like basically doing like sled drags. And he was like, my family and I do this like sled drag workout around my block once a week or something like that. And it was like him, his wife, his kids, and they're all like dragging chains and stuff. And I'm like, sweet, like your family all like works out together. But then I saw this other really random weird clip where he was like, I'm in Africa and I'm doing a hunt and I'm going to shoot something and then I'm going to walk over to it and eat it like right now because it's like raw and live. And I was like, that's intense.
I don't know. Dude's got a liver queen. I can't even get a text back. It's just bizarre.
Wait, this is real. Because Matt followed him for a while before he got like weird and ordered and tried his like the protein powder that he made, which was actually really good. He liked it for whatever it is. I can't remember if it was non-dairy or Matt needs like really specific protein powder, but he liked the idea of there being like organ meat in it. And I was looking on his website and he has like a supplement for men. And if I recall correctly, I believe I'd have to look it up. This could be wrong, but I believe that it is made of like bull testicles or something.
Nice.
It's like for men, made by like man parts. Yeah.
I have so many jokes that I'm not going to make.
I know. Hold on, wait. I need to look it up.
Wow, that's impressive. In the South they call those Rocky Mountain oysters for whatever.
I know.
Yeah, those are not oysters I'm eating. Do you guys eat those in Canada, Nate? You guys eat balls?
I only learned what that was. I watched the English on, I think it was like Disney or something today, and like a 6 or 7 part episode series, like an old Western type thing, and up in that, that's how I learned what it was. So until a week ago, I didn't even know what that was.
Dude, so I mean, this is a true story. I grew up in the South. My grandparents were farmers and raised all their own meat, and vegetables, obviously. And they ate every piece of every animal, everything. Like, we had stories of my grandmother eating squirrel brains, and like even if there was a part on the pig, it got eaten. And they both lived into their late 90s. It's like there absolutely is a lot of proof to living this kind of ancestral life of eating all the organ meat and all the parts of the animals and not eating processed food and pesticides and all that shit that comes with it.
Wait, can I tell you? I found it. It's called MOFO, Male Optimization Formula.
Of course it is.
And it is made one-of-a-kind blend made of beef testicle, prostate, heart, liver, bone, and marrow. These organs support ultimate male vitality.
Wow.
There you go.
When was he taking these? Before or after Hunter?
So Matt never took these. Well, when I found
Yeah.
he had the protein powder, and then when I saw it, I was like, I wonder what else he makes, and it was like this male optimization blend made of male parts. So good.
We're going to have an episode at some point where we unpack why Matt felt the need to have the male vitalization package from Liver King, but we're not going to do it tonight. We're not going to.
Oh my God, he would die, but he doesn't listen to this show, so there you go.
Well, we should have him on. I have so many questions I need to ask him.
Do you? He'll answer. He'll be like, "What are you talking about on the show?"
Right now, Nate's like, "This is not how I saw this going. This is
absolutely
not how I saw this going."
My wife asked me. She's like, "So what do you think they're going to talk about?" Usually, when I go on people's podcasts, they ask me like at the beginning, like how I got started in CrossTube, and then they just ask me a bunch about YouTube because like that's what I like to talk about, and like that's what I know. I don't know much about anything else. So I was like, I don't think either of these people give a crap about YouTube. So I'm very interested to see what we talk. I have no idea.
Well, in fairness, Nate, I don't know if you know this, but I actually own a marketing agency, so I'm with you on all the like funky data that comes from all of the, like YouTube metrics and specs and things. Usually for me, it's on the paid side of things, not as much on the organic side. But I'm with you on like the just nerdy, crunchy data in that respect. But yeah,
this is normally our thing, Nate. Like, we love CrossFit, but I honestly could give a rat's ass about talking to people about CrossFit every day. Like, we just kind of like to talk about whatever's going on. It's just fun for me, and I love hearing other people's opinions.
Absolutely.
And you get some weird stuff comes up that way. It's the best, It's where all the good stuff comes from. So, all right, dude. Well, thanks for joining. This has been it's been fun for sure.
Yeah.
Hope we didn't disappoint you with all our weird questions.
Just along for the ride. I enjoyed it. It's fun.
Nikki, next episode, I want to hear more about the bull balls that Matt had in his mouth.
Maybe I should order some, and then I can give you. Maybe I should take some. Maybe I should order it and take it, and then I can give you like a first person account.
You're gonna come on the show next week, and you have a beard. And Nikki's gonna be a beard and shirtless with huge turtle abs. It's gonna be the best.
Listen, I work so hard. Hi, Griff. Yes, I know. I work so hard to like not have facial hair. It's very difficult. All the waxing and the threading and this that we have to go through. That if that reversed it, that would be just like against all of my of my best practices.
Can we call you the liver Jew? Would that be the best?
I would love that.
I would love that.
For it. In fairness, there is also a female supplement on his website that is made of ovary and uterus and fallopian tube. So maybe that's what I should be taking.
I know we were like signing off, but I would really love to know the science around why men have to eat the balls and prostate and women have to eat the ovaries and fallopian tubes. Like, I don't know. It's so weird to me.
I don't know. Anyway, we can.
Sounds like good marketing to me, Adam.
It sounds like terrible marketing to me.
It's like what's that word? Like when it slaps you in the face and it's just like car crash marketing. You can't look away. It's like that's gonna get attention if you see that.
That's true.
Man, I had macaroni and cheese for dinner. I'm not taking any of that shit.
Yeah,
no chance. No chance. All right, well, guys, it's been fun. Nate, appreciate you humoring us and letting us go through all our craziness here. Nikki, great seeing you as always. For everyone listening, we appreciate you guys joining. We'll be back next week, and